Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Laurent Sagarra. I work for JDE Peet. Generally, people don't know who JDE Peet is. We are the largest EU coffee company, and we're the second largest coffee company in the world. And you generally know our brands that you can enjoy actually under the tent over there. So you will see we have some of the most iconic coffee brands that you enjoy every day. And if you're in Belgium, whether it's JDE or Jacques Motte, L'Or in France, or Jacobs in Germany. I look after sustainability. What does that mean in a nutshell? With my team, with the rest of the organization, and I would say with the rest of the value chain, we all work together to ensure that there is a future for coffee. Because people always look at us and say, oh, you do sustainability because it's nice to have, it's reputation management, and so on. No, we do sustainability because we want to ensure that we have a future. And you will say, why? Because when you are a company like us, all we do is coffee. And if tomorrow, because of climate change, growing coffee becomes more complicated, if farmers stop growing coffee because they don't earn a living, we don't have any more raw material, it means we stop to exist. And I think that's really important to understand that today we do it because we want to make sure we continue to exist, we continue to grow. And by doing that, we support the planet and the people. And at the end, it's really when those three meet that you have a sustainable business, and that's what we've been doing. But small question for you, who had a cup of coffee today? Well, that's great. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about this cup of coffee, where it's come from, and so on. So, first thing, everything is starting with a little coffee berry. So it looks a bit like a cherry, actually. And today, as was mentioned, there is 12.5 million farmers in the world who are growing coffee, and they are in the equatorial region, let's say between the two Capricorn and, thank you. So that's where they are today. There's about 70 countries. And this is where we supply coffee every day, and we buy around 8% of the world coffee. Now, of course, if we want to continue to be able to supply coffee, we need responsible coffee. And this is where things start to get a bit more complicated and also a bit more blurry for consumers, because what does that mean? What means responsible coffee? And you're all seeing a proliferation of label, of logo, of claim, and so on. But let me tell you what it means for us. Because at the end, we have those farmers, and we want those farmers to continue to grow coffee in a way that doesn't damage the planet, so that the weather is still here to support it. So what do we do in JDE Peet? Well, we started 3 years ago a new approach because we need to change things. We've been doing one way for 20 years. We didn't deliver the impact that was necessary. We say, let's rethink how we do it. And the way we're approaching it today is we collaborate with an NGO which is going on the ground where we source our coffee, so in all those countries, to actually assess what are the problems in origins. Because the issues that are faced in origin is not one size fits all. In some area, there is problem of deforestation, there may be problem of water, of child labor, of different type of problems. So it was important for us to understand what are those issues. And then when you know those issues, you know what to do. And this is where we start, where we collaborate on the ground with NGOs, with governments, with the rest of the supply chain to actually implement programs that will address those issues on the ground so that to be part of the solution. And those programs last between 3 to 10 years. So it's not just a short thing, it's a long investment, it's a commitment on the ground to support farmers, and it's also very large scale. I mean, our programs go up to 70,000 farmers. So it's really large scale where you address entire landscape and work with the farmers to actually address the problems. And then the next step is, of course, measuring your impact. And that's why, again, our NGO partners comes back, because they will go on the ground, they will check that the actions have been implemented, but also what is the true impact of those actions. And what we do then? Well, we are going to do that again and again and again until we are delivering the change that is necessary to ensure that there is a future of coffee. Because you don't fix systemic problem in a year or in 6 months. You need to continue to invest to bring the solution, which are often not very easy to find, to actually address those problems. So let me give you some example of what does that mean practically. The first topic, child labor, and because that's something extremely critical, and that's something which is today in 2024 is unacceptable. This is unacceptable that today there is still problem of child labor in this world. And when we got actually in 2022 our first assessment data, There was one country where we had a big concern was Honduras. We received the data from the assessment of the farmers, and the prevalence of child labor was really big, really high. And when we looked at that, well, you had first solution could be, well, we stop sourcing from Honduras. Then we can say, okay, there's no more child labor, at least for what we source. The issue of doing that is those children will still be in the field. Those children, life might actually get worse because those farmer income will decrease and there might be even more child labor. So what we decided to do at this time, instead of abandoning the farmers and abandoning the children in this case, we decided actually to overinvest. We linked with the government, we worked with an NGO called World Vision, specialized in those topics, to understand what was the root cause of the problem. And actually the root cause was not the children of the farmers, but actually the children of the workers. Because when you're in Honduras, you have workers coming from Nicaragua, Guatemala, who comes to harvest, the pickers, the coffee pickers who harvest the coffee, and they come with their children. And of course, it's the summer holiday in Honduras, so schools are closed, and the only solution they had was to bring those children in the field. And then what happened to those children? They end up handling machetes in the field, carrying bags of coffee, and that's why we had child labor. And so what we started to do there with World Vision is to build child care center. And today we have already 11 child care centers running in Honduras so that the children can go there. And we had 700 children going there last year. And I was discussing with them in June when I was there last year. And we said, okay, that's nice, but that's not enough. And what do we need to do to actually build all the infrastructure so that in the coffee belt in Honduras, there is no more child labor in the sense that the infrastructure available. And now we are signing a contract with them to actually build another 100 child care centers so that all the children in Honduras have the opportunity to live the normal life of a child. It means they learn, they play, they are being fed, and it's safe, which is super important also over there. And that's what we mean when we talk about impact. Instead of abandoning your farmers, instead of abandoning those children, we have the responsibility to overinvest to actually fix the problem, be part of the solution. And that's one example. I mean, farmer income is also a topic that is coming back very often. And on that, we have multiple initiatives. And one of the initiatives that we work on is, of course, on the agro practices. Because when you look at the income of the farmers, price is one component. The yield, so the quantity of coffee you harvest from your field, is a huge component. And today, the disparity are enormous. Some of our farmers in Africa harvest 100 kilos of coffee per hectare. Some of our farmers in Brazil harvest 4,000 kilos of coffee per hectare. You can see the opportunity of improvement. And this is why we engage at scale again in countries to bring the farmers from 100 to 300 to 500 to 1,000, because you can literally multiply their revenue by 5 or 10-fold. And that's really where there is huge opportunity where we need to invest. We're doing the same thing on deforestation. Deforestation is a critical problem for us because it increases climate change. You have two ways to fix deforestation. Way number one, you just source coffee which is not deforested. It's nice, you are compliant. What is your true impact on deforestation? Zero. Because you just source the one who has no problem, the rest is continue. What we have decided to do is exactly what we're doing with income or with child labor. We are working with the countries to identify deforestation in coffee and to remediate to it, so that we actually stop deforestation, because this is where you truly deliver impact. And today in JDE Peet, we have 60 projects ongoing. We reach already 700,000 farmers, and people say, oh, that's nice, it's a lot. Yes, but that's just the beginning. We have to reach 12.5 million farmers. And this is where there is a true need to collaborate. We have to work together between roasters, between traders, with the government to actually build a scale solution to be able to address those problems. And this is where for us, and that's why today I'm also in Brussels, the role of regulation is super important, because the way regulations are written is also impacting the way we are implementing change. And you can implement change by being compliant and I would say pushing the problem with the others, or you can implement change by actually forcing and pushing all the stakeholders to truly invest to address the root cause and fix the problem. And this is truly where there is a huge opportunity in the way regulation are crafted to actually deliver on the impact that they want. And that's really why we need to do more, why we need to collaborate more also with regulators in those processes, because we have the opportunity to be part with them of the solution and to truly deliver the impact we need to ensure that there is a future for coffee, and beyond the future coffee, to make sure that no one is left behind. Because this is truly important, so that the small farmer can still continue to produce, can still continue to export, and also can make a living out of coffee. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer your questions.